time doing it. So we're gonna wait for I got it where I wanted at 35 psi. Now this may be a little high. Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Defiant Jeep. Today we'll be working on this 2019 Jeep Wrangler JL. And what we're going to be doing is installing the VOSwitch switch panel for some lights. Let's go ahead and take a look at this product and unbox it. Alright, definitely comes in an attractive package. Very simple, very basic to read. And when we open it, first thing that everybody loves is a cool, fantastic sticker. I love the sticker. Especially the transparency of it, so you can apply it anywhere and have your color background. Alrighty, so now we're looking at, looks like some zip ties, a wire lead, some paperwork. We have the master control switch. Let's see if I be a genius and able to do this one-handed. Oops, let me just do that. It's actually an attractive switch, and we're going to show you where this mounts momentarily. And of course we have the actual switch panel right here. Actually, I'm not going to unbag it just yet. This is going to be mounted under the hood, and of course it does come with a lot of leads. So we definitely have a nice way of maneuvering this. The instructions are very easy. I've read them before. Simple to install. So we are going to be installing this with Dirt Monkey. Brian, the owner of Dirt Monkey. We're going to go ahead and work on that. And we're going to show you how we get it all done. Just hang in. As a matter of fact, while we're prepping the area, I went ahead and decided to unbag the actual panel switch itself. Very easy to use. All the leads going through here, they're all waterproof. And we're going to be installing these pod brackets left and right on the JL. This actually come out very sweet and should not be a long install. And when it's done, we're going to show you the end product. Let's go ahead and get ourselves prepared, and we're going to get started installing. Alrighty, so let's see if we can get this guy out of here, because the bolt itself, the bolt head's a little boogered up. There we go. Let me not do that twice, because I don't want to scratch the paint on this thing. Okay, so what we're doing right now is we're going to remove one of the fender bolts, and we're going to situate the unit where it's going to go. So we're going to take this guy here. We made him there. We're going to put the factory bolt back in its place, but we're only going to go by hand. We're not going to manhandle it at this time. Now there's another bolt that was provided, another M6 bolt that was provided by VOSwitch. So we're going to put this provided area here. Let me go get the bolt. Perfect. Got the bolt. Actually a nice fit. Let's get this situated exactly where you want it. And loosen that guy a little bit. Now you do have some play. Now you're probably looking at about ½ inch of play. You want it more forward, you want it centered, doesn't matter. Did you got a ½ inch of difference here?
Center.
Center? Alrighty. That's about it right there. And what you're gonna cinch it down, because from this point I don't believe we're gonna move it anymore. Let's just cinch it, call it a day on this part anyway. There you go, that guy ain't going nowhere. Alrighty. Now, we need to run some of these lines here. The instructions are very simple. says here, install the control wires. Let's go ahead and do some of this mess. We're just gonna prep this. Right now, these we're going to put to a side, even though they are just wire ties. Never know, they may come in handy. So just don't throw them away in case you need them. Get all this unraveled. One thing you don't want is kinks in the line. Even though it's a copper line or maybe a fiber optic line, whatever it is, if you kink the line, you damage it.
Steve, is that the line we're going to run to the inside of the Jeep?
This one, no. This is going to be
the inside.
Yes, this is going to be the connection for the controller that goes on the grab handle. And the grab handle installation is something we're going to show momentarily. I'm just actually prepping the line right here so we can route it. And this is a good size length one, so we're going to have enough length on this one to route it almost any direction we want. Because when we get to the inside the passenger compartment, we're going to go through the firewall and then run this up on the inside of the A pillar, right behind the handle. So we're going to get that all cinched. I remember where that's at so we don't step on it. Now, instructions want us to lower the windshield. We're not going to do that. Lowering the windshield, you also stand a chance of damaging the windshield wipers. So we're not going to go in that direction. With the hood fully open, extended all the way, we should have enough space to pretty much do what we need to do, get the job done without any problems. But allow me a moment, let me read some of this and we'll be right with you. Alrighty, so hey, you know what, I'm putting too much thought into this. This is a real simple setup and I'm going to run by the wires one more time. Now we have our negative for the battery, which is going to be directly connected. We have the positive for the battery that's going to be directly connected. And then we got these two other leads. This one is to a keyed fuse, meaning that when you turn the engine off and the switch is off, this is not going to be a hot wire. It's not going to be live. So that means there'll be no power running through it when you turn it off. I don't want to say take the key out because this is a push button ignition. And this, of course, is the lead for the controller that goes inside the passenger compartment. And, you know, after reading these instructions, I don't want to overthink it. It's just super simple. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this lead and we're going to run it along the firewall all the way to the other side. Now on the driver's side, somewhere just lower of the brake booster, there is a grommet that we're going to push through, and then we're going to run this lead right through it. So let's go ahead and get started. That'll probably be good. You probably zip tie it right here to this, just to keep it secure. That's good. So right now we're just routing the line to see how we want to lay it out before we tie it down. Now my question is, along here I gotta figure out where I want to tie it to. I don't want the lead dangling. I don't want the lead to get damaged, burned, or melted by any contact of heat or any other source. So that's going to be a little bit of a challenge, but we're still going to run the lead to make sure we have enough path here. Alright, so if we're going to go in this direction, what's under here? Ooh, that might be a good spot to keep it out of the way. What else is down here? That's just the master cylinder, and that's a heat shield for the master cylinder. Anything on this side?
Can we get behind that bracket for the master cylinder?
We can, right back here?
Yeah.
Sure can. We're probably going to fish it a little bit, so let me attempt something. Okay, I got it. You want to be careful as you're running this lead. Again, you don't want to kink it. Genius, you saw that? Alright, so now I'm still gonna leave enough slack and leave it loose. Let's see if I can get it behind this bracket over here. Why you want to fight me? Okay, so the space I'm trying to get through is a bit tight. I don't want to force it, and I want to try and damage the cable, so we're going to go another direction. Still where we're at. I'm going to see if I can find my way behind that bracket. So, and there's space for my finger, so there's space for that. How about...
Yeah, we can get it through this other side, I think.
I'm sorry?
We can get behind here, go right behind the mast or something.
Okay. So let's fish it back out. Alrighty. So what we did is we ran the lead all the way across. It's still dangling, and we got the lead behind the brackets on the master cylinder. So from this point right here, we were trying to figure out how we're going to tie it together. So what we decided to do first is to take off this nut over here, hoping that this assembly would open up. Unfortunately, that's not the case. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this lead, we're going to run it through the area, and then we are going to attach the zip tie. And let's make sure that you got your zip tie in the right direction so it catches its teeth. And if I can get that in there. There you go. So this right here, going all the way across, is enough to sustain it. And that's all you needed to do. You just needed to hold it in place. You don't need to make it super tight. You don't need to add any stress to it, just enough to keep it out of the way of what's going on. So I'm going to do this same thing to all these tabs going across. I'm also going to add one right here in the corner where it makes a bend along this, looks like a thicker conduit with other wires in it, which is going to make sure it's out of the way and tucked and safe. So let me go ahead and finish up with that. And then from there, we're going to run through the firewall to install the connector that goes inside the passenger compartment on the passenger handle. So let me get this all buttoned up, and I'll be with you in one moment. Alrighty, so we got the lead wooden tied down from the corner and all these tabs all the way across. So at this point, I'm just gonna cut off the excess. You don't want these in the way. You don't want them to interfere with anything. And go around. I'll get back to that one. Could have been long. And good there. Okay. Put the excess down. There we go. Alrighty, so from this point we're ready for the next step. Now, you may not be able to see it from your position, but down here, in fact I can feel it, I got my finger on it, if you can see my finger, this right here is a seal. They may call it a grommet, but this is something right on the firewall you can punch right through to run the rest of this lead to get to the inside of the cabinet. Now, once you're inside from here, where it's going to appear is right behind the dashboard. So you'd have to, from the ground, reach upward, grab it, and then fish it down. You don't want to yank on it too hard, just slowly feed it through. So that's going to be our next step. We're going to go ahead and punch this line right here, this hole, and then make it up the inside of the A-frame pillar. All right.
Okay, record.
Alrighty, so now we got this all figured out how we're going to run the wire. Now, if you take a look in here, there was a plastic plug that was right there. I wasn't 100% sure how it was, so I went inside the passenger compartment and I felt up under the dashboard. With Brian holding the camera and being on this side of the firewall. As I pushed on it, you could tell me that was the plug that I was messing with originally. So we went ahead and popped that out, so you don't have to damage anything. It actually popped right out because you can actually see the insertion points where it goes. We made a hole, probably about, I'm gonna say about a ½ inch in diameter, maybe a little smaller. I'm not 100% sure because we didn't have all the drill bits, so we kind of wallered around it. So it's still a perfect fit. So long as you're able to get this controller through, or this connector, I'm sorry, all the way through, then you're fine. So from here, we're gonna route this cable through the firewall like so. Yeah. If I can get my big hands in there. There you are. Now, allow me a second. I'm gonna go under the dash and fish this through gently. Give me 1 second. So I'm gonna leave it like that for the moment. I got that on the other side. Let's make sure that this is not interfering with anything. Now, that plug, I know it's there. Gotta be dancing. There it is. So I'm gonna finish running this wire through, and we're gonna put that plug back in place. Now, if the opening area is a little bit more excess than what you're comfortable with, you can try and seal over it, like maybe some good tape, like an electrical tape that'll color match. Or if you want, oh look, it popped in perfect. Or if you want to get yourself some black silicone, something to seal over it. Whatever's gonna make you feel most comfortable so that no other outside elements get into the passenger compartment. However you're gonna do it, be my guest. Anything you use is gonna work. Like I said, silicone, you can tape it. If you wanna spray some of that foam sealant, that'll work also. Any way you wanna go. But this part right here is about done. This lead is in. So now we're ready to go inside the passenger compartment and run the lead from the side. In fact, if you come with me for a second, I'm going to show you how we're going to do this. You see I have the lead right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to run up the side. We're going to remove this panel and this panel. We're going to come up here. We're going to remove these two covers. We're going to remove the grab handle for a moment. We're going to drill a small hole about the size of this for the other connector that's on the controller. And that's gonna be the next project. So all this right here, we're gonna remove just to run this lead, then we're gonna put it all back together. Allow me a moment to prepare myself, and I'm gonna show you all the steps I take as soon as I get back. The part I'm helping on. Because everybody, hey Steve, you wanna help me out?
I'd do it, but you're making the video.
Oh, okay, cool.
If you don't wanna make the video, we gotta fucking do this shit.
Are we playing? Are we recording?
Yeah, we're recording.
Oh, geez, I could always see that. Alrighty, so what we're gonna do at this point right here, I'm gonna remove both these caps. I may not have to remove both of them, but just for whatever peace of mind and removing the handle, and this will be a temporary removal of the handle. Then I'm gonna take both covers off. Behind there, each one has one 10mm bolt that we're gonna remove, and then we're gonna do a little modify back there just to make sure that the cable connector fits through perfectly. And of course, to be safe and to protect the interior, we're gonna use these plastic trim removers. Easy peasy. That's all it took. Now, I'm going to take a 10mm socket. Yep. 10mm socket. We're going to remove that. This guy's going to become fully removed because it's going to be replaced by the controller on this side.
So here Steve's removing the 10mm so we can get the grab handles off, so we do that modification you were talking about.
Now that's got to be a long bolt or it's really tight. Oh, it's got some good length on it. Get that other bolt out. Put the ratchet in there. Alright, now we have other clips holding us in place. There we go. Alright. I'm going to take this out in a second and I'm going to show you how it's held in place.
That whole piece should pop off. The whole thing should come out.
No, I know. Just they want to flex it too much.
Well,
there you go. Alrighty, so before I take this out, when you pop off these covers, of course they have a lead on them. And how they're held in place is just by tension. It's a spreader that slides right through the slot. And once you push it in, it expands and it keeps it from coming out. So in order to take it out, of course, you're going to line up the spreader with the slot. And you're going to squeeze the spreader ends together to make it separate. Cool! Alrighty, so from this point, we're going to make a modification on this top part right here. We're going to drill probably about a 20 millimeter size hole, which is going to fit that the connector for the controller that gets over here. And that connector is going to replace, if I can save it from falling, this little guy right here. So you're going to have a very similar look. It's going to look exactly like this, only with controls on it. So allow us a moment. Let me get this all prepped and drilled. We'll be back with you in a moment. Alrighty, so earlier I mentioned that we were going to go ahead and take apart these panels, and we decided not to go in that road. We've decided to go on a fishing expedition, which came out to be very successful. We ran this rod down this area where it's open, and we found it at the bottom of the dashboard. From that point, we were able to tape the connector to the fishing rod, and then pull it back up slowly and gently, make sure it didn't get hung up in anything. And now we're able to draw up our cable. Let's make sure there's no slack down there. Actually feeling excellent. Okay, so let's go ahead and unwind this guy with our very useful industrial strength glue on this packing tape. All right, so we're gonna hang on to that for a moment. Let's put this guy down. Okay, so now this is where it's gonna end up. And let me show you the grab handle real quick. So there's a couple things that's gonna happen here. One, remember, we're going to make a hole right about here for the other connector to fit right through. Because this guy's not coming through, it's going to stay in this area. So we need the connector from the control panel to go through there. Now, because of such ample cable, you don't want to leave any kind of slack just dangling around. You don't want it to catch on anything or yank. So what we're going to do is we're going to carefully fold it the way it was, and we're going to use this area right here. We're going to capitalize for storage for the excess amount of cable. So let me go ahead and get started on that. We're going to drill a hole. We're going to put the control panel in, slide it in, connect it, and then pop it back in place. See you in a bit. Alrighty, so we got our pilot hole drilled for that slot. Now we had to go a little extra big because this is the nut that's going to tighten or connect the cables together and keep them secure. Now, with the lead through, I'm going to mount the control panel. And it's in. You heard that snap? It's in. It's got the factory texture. It actually looks like it's all legit, original, and it blends in well. It's actually a very beautiful controller. Let's go ahead and get the wires connected. Alright, now just like in most any other connectors, there is a one-way. You can see it in these slots, there is a pilot. So that means it has to go in a specific way because each lead does its own thing. So we're going to be careful to mate them. We're going to make sure it goes in well, nice and tight. And there she is. Let's grab the nut. And here we're just going to tie them together. And this is going to be in this area. And as I mentioned, you can have excess lead. So let's do the right thing. We're going to fold it up and capitalize on this little piece of real estate right here to tuck the rest away so it doesn't get tangled or caught or anything in between. Want to make sure everything's nice and safe.
Let me grab you a zip tie for that.
Alrighty, so with the lead wound up and we tied it together with a zip tie so it's not all out of control and everywhere, we are going to line it up in the available space where it's all nice and tucked and the leads are safe. So now the fun part is getting it back in the spot where it belongs. So let me climb in here for a second. Ooh. All right. So now, you know, it's funny how you can always take apart stuff easier than you put them back together. So this guy, here we go. Go in there. This. Slot hole. Definitely don't want to look too foolish as I put it back together. Make sure I got this lined up right. And what I'm feeling for is the hole. Make sure it's lined up the way it's supposed to be. Not there. So where are you? Here. See if that looks right, so let's give it a test. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the socket extension for a little bit more leverage. I think I got it. So let's pop this guy back in place here. Now it's not going to be 100% secure. Now during my demonstration of the control panel, I showed you that it fits fine and it looks factory. But we're going to pop it back off just so I can put the screw back in place. So, I still got this trim tool. Let's pop this little fella back off. There we go. There's my other screw. There you are. Let's tighten it up. And there she is. Alright, let's put this cover back on. We're going to be careful on this one because it's your control. Slide it back in first. Snap it. Oh wow, it's beautiful. You should really give it a look from this side right here. It's gorgeous.
Pretty much looks factory.
Alright, so from this point, we're pretty much done with the interior except for one thing. And that's this little guy. This is the grill cover for your tweeter on the dashboard. This had to come out in order to make ample space and not damage anything else. So once this is installed, we're actually done with the interior. From there, we can move on to installing the other brackets for the pod lights, rewiring the pod lights, and then adding power to the unit itself, to the
VOSwitch.
VOSwitch. Oh man, brain fart. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, well, once we add power to the VOSwitch, then we can test the lights. Everything should be good. Let me go pop this back on.